All aboard! Hello and welcome to a different sort of shaky hand shed today, and I'm going to be saying stuff on what do you think the most important thing is in modelling, and I'm relating it to hattons, hornby, whoever, warley, everything, and all the market men and everything. The last couple of decades at least, I think it's been far too commercialised. The main magazine is basically run by the main manufacturing company, and you get to places like model railway exhibitions, they have an heavy hand in there. You can't blame them for selling products, but there's a lot of, how do you put it? I'm plain speaking, I put it bullshittery. The latest one's TT120. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but it's very limited, and there's other gauges around that you have more scope in. And I don't know why they introduced it, but the thing is, each to his own. Everybody models what they want to model, and that's good for the hobby because you get variety. But let's put it this way, Simon Kohler, when he was going on and giving his blurb, I've never heard so much chronic bull in my life. People have smaller houses, they're too fiddly for me to use, and all this crying. You can have all gauge in a small space and make an outstanding layout. It all depends what you want out of it. There's so much bull being spoken, and to a degree this is what's putting a lot of people off getting into the hobby. Or when they get into it, they get confused. Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And they're not using, from say 20 years ago, you used modelling skills. And if you used a larger gauge, you used compression and stuff like that to condense down what you wanted. But the main thing is, there's people model low gauge in a minimum space, and they do stuff like super detailing, and the layouts are astounding. I'll see if I can find a picture and put it down. Any pictures I find I'll put down here. But I watch some modellers and I watch the detail lines, and they're brilliant. Now, years gone by, say the 90s, you'd have basic models and they were robust. The ready to run stuff, they were reasonably robust. There were still the cheaper variants like mainline and stuff that had the fibles, but in the main they were reasonably robust. And if modellers wanted something else, they'd detail them up and they'd kit bash on them and stuff like that. There was a thriving cottage industry supplying locomotive kits and stuff like that. It's just got a stage now, I feel, a model railway hobby is everything should be out of the box, shake it and throw it on your layout. People want everything ready from bachmann and hornby They've all done it, ready built and ready painted buildings. What's that about? I mean, it's nice, but it's taken away a hell of a lot from the railway, model railway hobby, where you'd buy an Airfix or a dapple kit, whatever of a building set down, you'd modify it, you'd paint it. Some guys I knew would make individual paper slates for the roof to improve looks. I feel a lot of the actual modelling skill is disappearing out of model railways. It's, to some degree, it's to the detriment as well, because you look at the prices of these bachmann buildings that are all fully built and fully painted, and they're horrendous compared to a dapple kit you can paint and modify yourself and get stuff like brick papers or embossed plastic card and do scratch building onto them, and ready to run engines. I mean, hornby, they're variable at best, from horrendous to average. I won't say there's any astounding ones, because there's nothing that really floats me boat for the money. But getting back to it, you've got Engage, which really you've got an outstanding amount of choice for. And if you look at TT, it's not a million miles away from Engage size anyway. Even though I'll admit some of this kit's nice, I'll be first to admit it, but the thing is, how long will it last, and how much are other people gonna buy into it to introduce your buildings, or so much variation that you can build a different layout? That's a question, how much will follow it. But getting back to saying O gauge, well, no, I'll say it HO gauge. There's a guy in the States, I follow his channel, and I'll put a picture down here of the outstanding buildings he does. Some of them are his, and he builds other manufacturers' buildings, and some of the buildings available in the USA in kit form are astronomically beautiful. They put our ready-made and kit buildings in the shade, like they do, especially when Jason Jensen trains. He shows painting methods, and he is absolutely astounding. He does some beautiful buildings. Other ones I've mentioned, but you watch ones on here, they're on YouTube, that do scratch building and build their own stuff. They do phenomenal work, like Everard Junction. He does phenomenal work, and others to his quality. And it's not to say don't get the ready to roll things. They're great for kids and great for a start out, but we should be teaching kids better craft skills and how to make them, because those craft skills go into other things in life, like when you're running an house and repairs and stuff. It teaches you the mentality of thinking round problems and how to make something, and how to, because a lot of the skills done in model making are transferable to full scale things, except you're just scaling it up. But yeah, the thing is, we used to go to model railway exhibitions in the 90s, and you didn't have all this, like, it's a great thing, the resin printing, but we had white metal and resin castings and stuff, and you'd be able to buy birds. The stuff you could buy from cottage industries were astronomical. You could buy birds, cats, everything. But yeah, it's the thing that it disturbs me that a model railway company should be putting people off by saying, oh, it's the size. That's one of my biggest things that I think instantly rung alarm bells, and I thought, bunkum. Kohler was a salesman, nothing more. He was a salesman and what is it they call them? Publicist or whatever you want to call it. Like, because saying somewhere's too small is one of the biggest bullshit things in history. For dioramas, I've modelled dioramas for years, and the importance isn't on size. You can do a small vignette about that size, and the important thing in any diorama or on a layout is a story behind it. What's happening with it, what's it doing, where's it going, like, where do your trains come from, what are they taking out, is it a passenger terminal, is it a works, are products coming in from another works, are products coming in on the main line by British Rail, going out by British Rail, and are they shunted around the works by... There's whole stories to consider. You can have... I've looked at little vignettes. Another small one that comes to mind is the little, I think it's Cadbury's. Is it Cadbury's or Fry's? I think it's something to do with chocolate. It's a very small layout anyway, and it comprises of a level crossing, a few buildings, and not a lot more really, but the detail and the story behind it is astronomical. So it's beautiful, it's a cracking layout, and you could do that layout, could be fitted into any house of any scale. You could find room for that in all gauge, never mind double O. It's a marketing man's psychology. Because at the end of the day, TT, if you put N-gauge and TT side by side, and a lot of the older modellers have said, oh, I'm not using N because of the scale. No, it's far too small for me. If you can't handle N, you'll not handle TT. Simple as. It's a foolish assumption. If you can't handle N, you won't handle TT, double O's your scale, or O gauge. If you've got, like me, if you've got shaky hands and stuff, it's a fallacy. But, again, and this is where I come from, I think the hobby is doing a lot of these wars to themselves. They've concentrated on things that are too big, too large. Warley, what's that about? They said it was central in the country, but you're trying to get kids involved in the hobby, and you tell me kids, the parents are busy working to support families nowadays, and they've got no interest in model railways. Are they going to ferry a kid 140 mile round trip? I live near Manchester and it's NEC, so that's 70 miles thereabouts. Is a parent going to do 140 miles round trip, ferrying a child to the NEC, then pay astronomical parking charges, then pay astronomical fees to get in, then and you're asking why it's all adults in the hobby and there's no kids? That's a prime example. When we had local shows, a kid would have gone on their own. They paid a couple of quid on the door and gone round a local exhibition. price and size has got ridiculous. It's like hattons. They have so many lines going on. Personally, I think there's more behind that than they're saying. They're in the black, and my feelings are somebody's took a nice little butty out of it and they'll be sipping cocktails in Bahamas. Well, hey, that's just me. That's my theory, but there's a lot of staff will be pissed about it, and the truth will come out sooner or later. I don't buy all this Brexit bull and everything. I'm terrible for seeing through people. Like, if he's struggling so much and he's one of the largest, why are all the others going? Why is my buddy's shop still going? My buddy's shop's thriving. So, it can only lead to bad business decisions and taking on too much, too big, taking on too much. It all needs monitoring. Like, small is the way to go nowadays. Just have a small company and concentrate on one thing, and that's what they used to do, and that's why they're successful. We do this, they do that. Like hornby, every time somebody seems to have a little bit of a threat in for them, they'll release a model that another company's doing and saturate the market to break their profit. Why? Healthy competition. Without healthy competition, hornby can give you any shit they want. Without having healthy competition out there, like, good deal of jealousy to get. They've not said it directly, but the famous thing were Rails of Sheffield with a terrier. They were going to release a terrier, and hornby released it and made a huge thing about it, and in the hopes it'd take Rails of Sheffield's terrier down. And why? Healthy competition again. What's the threat from hornby from Rails of Sheffield? Threat they might get a little small percentage of the market. This is why I don't buy into hornby, and when they released TT, they wouldn't release it to dealers. It was shops only. It was order online from them only. Why? Why? Because, I don't know, I don't get it. Maybe because you might have seen it next to Engage and realised there's no real gain in it from the Engage. I don't know. But anyway, I'll leave me ramblings further for now, and I'll put any photos I'm doing in there. You'll have seen them by now anyway. With all those thoughts and ramblings, tatty pie, everybody. Tatty pie.